So UFC Fight Night Rio, Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot is taking place this weekend. And overall, it's a pretty decent fight night now. There are some fights on this card that are super low level, like a bunch of people on losing streaks, a couple of people that haven't even won fights in the UFC are on this card, and are simply on this card because they're Brazilian. And I also think that the card order, like, who was making the order for some of these cards, bro? Like, for some reason, we have Walter Walker on, like, the third fight of the fucking card. We got some random fucking jabroni as, like, the feature fight. Not the feature fight, but, like, Ricardo Ramos versus Con Ofley, that should be on the prelims, bro. Petrino and Peterson, that should be higher up. Muhammad Usman, like, whoever Walter Walker, I'm just going to go on the spiel now, I guess, before we get to the fucking Walter Walker fight. But whoever is Walter Walker's manager is terrible. This dude has got 3 heel hooks in a row, and he's getting a step down in competition. So there's a lot of shit on this card that doesn't make sense. But Tony has died, will be giving you my predictions for UFC Rio. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that YouTube shit, and I hope you guys fuck with the new profile pic, all right? Let me know how y'all feel about the profile pic in the comments below. I'm not sure if it's going to be a permanent thing, but I'm a Pereira Glazer, so we're going to keep it for now, all right? Let's get on to the first fight on the card, which is Simon Oliveira versus Luan Lacerda. And this was the fight that I was alluding to. This fight is as low level as you can possibly get it. No disrespect to the guys fighting, but 34-year-old Simon Oliveira, who's 0-3 in the UFC, won his Dana White's Contender Series fight by split decision. So he could arguably be 0-4 in the UFC, and I honestly think he's about to go 0-4. Like, legitimately 0-4. So I'm going to be picking Luan Lacerda. Now, he has, he also has been 0-2 in the UFC, but we actually, like, based on his LFA fights, we thought that this dude was going to be a submission, like a threat in the division. At least someone that could pose around the top 15, maybe. Like, this guy had a little bit of hype before he lost his first 2 fights, right? And so I think that, he's on a 2-year layoff, which is what's concerning about picking him in this fight. But I will take the 2-year layoff versus getting knocked the fuck out by David Martinez and getting knocked out by Daniel Marcos, okay? I'll take the 2-year layoff over that any day of the week. I think that Luan Lacerda could get himself a submission in this fight, but I'm going to lean more towards a decision. I think he'll get takedowns, hold Simon Oliveira on the ground, and do some good work there, 30-27. Simon Oliveira, he's just not a UFC level fighter. I hate to say it, but I haven't seen anything from him that is impressive ever. So that's my pick. I am picking Luan Lacerda. The next fight on the card is Julia Polastri versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz or whatever. I don't fucking know. I'm going to be picking Julia Polastri to win this fight. I would like to tell you a reason why. She's a -400 favorite. I'll say this. Karolina Kowalkiewicz or whatever, however you fucking Klahovic or whatever. I don't know how to fucking say this shit, bro. It's Polish. These Polish last names always fuck me up, but she has been in the UFC for quite some time. Her losses are to good people, bro, but she just didn't look good in them at all. She's 39 years old, taking on a 27-year-old who, has a decent submission game. I think that Julia Polastri should be able to get the takedown. A 29-28 split decision. Come on, man. You know the fucking drill with these women's fights, all right? The next fight on this card, we got the Grim Reaper of Heel Hook Chicago, Walter Walker, taking on Muhammad Usman. And I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to give you my prediction. I think he's going to do it again. I think that Walter Walker is going to do it again and get himself another heel hook, if not a submission. He's definitely going to get a submission. Muhammad Usman, he has lost the decent competition for heavyweight, like Mick Parkin. He arguably beat Spivak. Did Parkin fight Spivak or Tybura? I think it was Spivak, right? I always get their fights mixed up, but Mick Parkin fought one of them and arguably should have won. So that's not a bad loss for Muhammad Usman. And Thomas Peterson, Thomas Jefferson, he's later on this card. He beat Muhammad Usman as well. And let me just say this. Muhammad Usman, he beat Hamdi Al-Wahhab in his last fight. This dude's footwork makes Jamal Hill look like Ilia Topuria. This dude's footwork is the worst footwork in the UFC. Like, he has no stand-up whatsoever, and he's a wrestler. Muhammad Usman is a wrestler. Now, he didn't wrestle in high school like his brother Kamaru, but he's a wrestler. And I don't think he's going to be able to take this to the ground with someone like Walter Walker, who, even though he's Brazilian, he fights like a fucking Russian because he grew up in Russia. So he has Russian wrestling. Now, Walter Walker, he does have bad stand-up as well. If you remember the Kennedy and Zekichu fight, he shot the worst takedown of all time on Kennedy. He still got it. So I think that Walter's very powerful. Yeah, he lost to fucking Lucas Brzeski. But I do think that Walter just came in out of shape in that fight. And he's gone to get 3 heel hooks in a row. Whoever his manager is, this guy deserves to be ranked. He deserves to get look at Tapology has him at number 10. Pretty sure the UFC rankings have him at 14. Why is he fighting Muhammad Usman, who's on a 1-fight win streak against Hamdi Al-Wahhab? It doesn't make sense. Walter Walker should get this one done. I'm pretty confident that he'll get it done by submission. And I do think that he'll get the 4th heel hook because this is a step down for him, man. Kennedy and Zekichu, he is a harder fighter than Muhammad Usman. He is dangerous on the feet. He has more experience. Kennedy is a harder fighter to beat than Muhammad Usman. I think Walter Walker should be able to go out there and get the heel hook. I'm not kidding. I think we'll see a 4th win in a row. And they're going to start talking about this dude like the fucking Grim Reaper, bro. So, yeah, man. I'm picking Walter Walker to win this by submission in the first round. The next fight on this card, we got Lucas Rocha versus Stuart Nickel. And this is the kind of fights that I'm talking about on this card that are super hard to predict. This is a fight that is dead even on the money line as well as dead even. I'm pretty sure Stuart Nickel is a slight favorite. But I am leaning more towards Lucas Rocha in this fight. Now, when a fight is dead even like this, and both guys have different abilities to finish each other, and like what Rocha specializes in is Stuart Nickel's weakness, and what Nickel specializes in is Rocha's weakness. When it comes to that kind of shit, bro, and it's like they're both 0-1 in the UFC. They both won, I'm pretty sure, on the what's his name didn't have a contender series fight, but the point I'm trying to make is when it's dead even, you have to start going to a deeper bag when you're looking at the kind of statistics, right? So like you look at Rocha, it's a hometown fight. It's in Brazil. He's Brazilian. He's training with Chute Box. Charles Oliveira is in the main event. He's fought in LFA. That is a decent organization. He's fought on the contender series. And so I look at all of these slight advantages, and I think that they're going to be the deciding factors in this shit. I know that's not a very good breakdown of how to pick a fight, but when it's dead even, this could go either way. Flip a coin, that's your fucking pick, bro. When it comes to that kind of shit, I start looking at the deeper kind of mysterious shit that goes on in the boogie rooms. The vibes, bro. The vibes. You gotta fuck with the vibes, right? Going on vibes here. I'm gonna pick Lucas Rocha to win. But nah, real shit. I think that he I just think that he has good power, bro. And Stuart Nickel, he's been I don't know, man. He's been rocked before. Shit, man. I'm picking Rocha to win this. Let's just move on to the next one. If you want to hear my reasoning behind it, this is low level. And I think that when it comes to low level MMA that's dead even, I think that you got to start looking at this kind of obscure shit. So, yeah, I'm picking Lucas Rocha to win. The next fight on this card is Bia Mesquita versus Irana Aliskeva. Now that's some weird fucking tongue twister. Say that fucking 5 times. Bia Mesquita, Irina Aliskeva. Say that 5 times. But when I look at the fucking odds for this fight, I'm kind of perplexed. Bia Mesquita is a -650 favorite. And I think that the odds makers really haven't looked at her past fights at all, because not even 2 fights ago, she kind of did the She got like disqualified by an illegal kick and did the fucking Rodolfo Bellato and got the win. She did the fucking Peter Yan, all Joe acting and got the win. And that was just 2 fights ago. But you look at all of her other fights and she has a great submission game. Now, she is 34 years old, so I guess it's like, if we're gonna get her in the UFC, fuck it, let's get her now. Irina Alskiva, she has better striking. Like, I legitimately think that she has better striking in this fight. And I'm afraid that if this fight gets stuck on the feet, then it will be big trouble for Bia Mesquita. But I am going to be picking Bia Mesquita to win because I think that she will be able to get this to the ground and hold her opponent there. We've seen Irina Alskiva get taken down in her last fight. We saw her get taken down against Melissa Mullins as well, if I'm not mistaken. She's been taken down time and time again. I think that this is I definitely think there is a world in which Alskiva, like, fraud checks, bro. Like, this isn't crazy. We saw what happened to Alice Pereira not even, like, 3 weeks ago. But you do remember that other girl that just fought, what is that woman's? Luana Carolina. I feel like it's going to go more like that, where it's competitive on the feet, but once it hits the ground, it's wraps. So I'm picking Bia Mesquita to win this fight by decision. The next fight on the card, we got Janata Diniz versus Vitor Petrino. Now, Vitor Petrino, he kind of looks like if you took every Brazilian fighter and face morphed them into one person and put Alex Pereira's body on him. That is what Vitor Petrino is. He's just every Brazilian fighter face morphed, and then you have Alex Pereira's body. And then we got, it's not Diniz versus Petrino. It's Diniz versus Thomas Peterson. Hold up. Okay. Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson. Spoiler alert, I'm picking Vitor Petrino to knock out Thomas Peterson. I don't think Thomas Peterson is a very good fighter. He got knocked out by Shamil Gaziev in the first round, if you don't remember. Just a straight right hand. And who was Shamil Gaziev? Shamil Gaziev got fucking easily out-techniqued by Rosenstrike. And so that's not a very good look in my opinion. If you're losing to the guy by knockout that got completely masterclassed by Rosenstrike, who got removed from the company, that's not a good look. Vitor Petrino, yeah, he got fucking submitted by Anthony Smith. And that was a dumb mistake that we saw him correct that mistake in his last fight against Austin Lane. And not even that, you look at the fucking Dustin Jacoby fight with Vitor Petrino. I think it's pretty clear that he learned from his mistake with Anthony Smith. He was able to win that fight on the ground. Petrino, he has better wrestling, he has better submissions, he has better striking. If you want to pick this fight by submission, I wouldn't be surprised. But Thomas Jefferson here, not very good. So, excuse me. I'm going to be picking Vitor Petrino to slime out Thomas Jefferson in the first round. And honestly, I feel kind of bad because one time I made a meme about Thomas Peterson and he commented on it and I felt really bad. And so I'm picking against him again. And so now I feel even worse. But yeah, let's move on to the next one, which is Giafale Fialho versus Clayton Carpenter. And I'm going to pick Clayton Carpenter to win this fight. I like what he's exhibited in his fights a lot more than what I've seen from Giafale Fialho. What do I mean by that? I think Clayton Carpenter has fought higher levels of competition. He's been in the UFC for a while. He fought in LFA. He's a younger fighter as well. Yeah, he lost his last fight to Tagir Olimbekov, right? But Tagir Olimbekov is a very capable fighter from Dagestan, and he was taking down Tagir in that fight. He took Tagir down a couple of times. Apart from that, he's gotten 2 submissions, and he beat Edgar Chairez, who's been a decent flyweight. Now, I'm not saying he's like the fucking, Edgar Chairez sucks, don't get me wrong, but he's been around the division. He's got some wins in the UFC. On the other hand, we have Fialho, who I'm pretty sure in his fight with Nascimento just completely fumbled the bag on the ground. Yeah, he beat Ode Osborne, but that's always been Ode Osborne's weakness, is fucking submission grappling. And he lost to Muhammad Makayev, and Makayev made him look easy. So He's been submitted before, so I wouldn't be surprised if Clayton Carpenter gets another submission because he's decent with his submission game. But I think it's going to be more likely that Clayton Carpenter gets Filo down and kind of just does the lay and pray. Not the lay and pray. He has decent ground and pound as well, but I think that the grappling exchanges in this fight are going to be fun until Clayton Carpenter gets like top position on him, and then he'll just hold him there and beat him up. So I'm picking Clayton Carpenter to win this one by decision. The next fight on the card, we got Lucas Almeida versus what's this guy? What's this fucking guy's name? Michael Aswell. I'm about to take a sip of water. Do you hear my crisp voice now? My voice is nice and crisp now. Do you hear that? We'll do some ASMR. All right, listen. I'm gonna be picking Aswell to win. I know he lost to Balagioki in his debut, but I don't think that Lucas Almeida is a UFC level fighter. The only people he's beaten are Michael Trezano and Timmy Kwamba. Besides that, he's going to a split decision with Danny Silva. He got knocked the fuck out by Andre Fiallo. He got submitted by Pat Sabatini. He's not a UFC level fighter. And although Michael Aswell lost to Balagioki had a pretty good first round against Mason Jones. And I don't think Mason Jones is all that either. But Balagioki, they both have lost to terrible people. But I like the power of Michael Aswell. And we've seen fucking the power of Andre Fili put out Lucas Almeida. I like the power Michael Aswell has, bro. And so I'm going to pick the American to upset in this fight. And I'm going to pick Michael Aswell to win this one by decision. I think he will drop Almeida at some point in this fight, all right? The next fight on the card, we got Ricardo Ramos versus Khan Ofli. And I am going to be picking Khan Ofli to win this fight. So I'm picking an underdog here. Why am I picking an underdog? And it's because I think Khan Ofli has a very good submission game. I think that even though he's 0-2 in the UFC, he fought Muhammad Naimov, who's decent. He fought Marion Santos, who's decent. And, Ricardo Ramos is kind of the same way. He lost to Chepe Mariscal, who's decent. He lost to Charles Jourdain, who's decent. But getting submitted by Julian Erosa, I simply think that Khan Ofli is a level higher than that. I think that he has a lot of submissions. I'm pretty sure 8 of his wins come by submission, or it's like 6 of his wins are by submission or something like that. He's well-rounded, though. He has knockouts on his resume as well. Now, he hasn't had success in the UFC so far, but he's new. He's 32 years old. He's hitting his prime. And I just don't, someone who gets submitted by Julian Erosa, I feel like is going to be I feel like Khan Ofli on the ground is going to be a problem for them. So, this fight, it's a pretty close fight, minus 210 for Ricardo Ramos. I'm going to be picking Khan Ofli to win this one, plus 170. Let's get it. The next fight on the card, we got Janata Diniz versus Mario Pinto. Now, as I said earlier when I thought that it was Walter Walker versus Diniz, Janata Diniz is kind of like a poor man's Rosenstrike. He's like, I was very, very tempted to pick him in this fight just based on Mario Pinto's last performance where Austin Lane wobbled him badly. And I think that might just be UFC jitters, okay? I'm not going to hold that against him too heavily. Mario Pinto, he can do it all. He can go to the ground. He can get knockouts. Janata Diniz, he's a former Glory kickboxer. And people like to say that shit like, bro, he's a former Glory kickboxer, man. You can't fuck with him on the feet. Well, if you mix in the martial arts, you can. People forget that fucking Junior Tafa and Justin Tafa were fucking Glory fighters as well. And so I don't think just being in the promotion of Glory automatically makes you a phenomenal striker. Now, he has shown decent striking. He also defeated Austin Lane by knockout. He had a more impressive performance against Austin Lane as well. But that fucking last fight with Alvin Hines, I know Alvin Hines was on the sauce. But Alvin Hines just does not look like an impressive fighter at all. And he was losing the latter half of that fight. Alvin Hines started to rally towards the end of that fight and gave Janata Denise, won the last round and gave Janata Denise a lot of trouble on the feet. I think Mario Pinto, who has decent takedowns, he has the ability to take this fight anywhere he wants. I think that he should be able to win this fight by decision. I don't think he's going to finish Denise, who I know he got finished by Tybura. He put up a pretty decent performance against Tybura, I'm pretty sure, before he got finished by him. But I think that Denise, like, I'm tempted to pick him, bro, but I just think of that Gooner fight. I just start thinking of the Gooner-Hines fight, and I'm just like, that guy is a bum, and you lost the last round to him. What are you going to do when you're in there with a physical specimen like Mario Pinto, who is undefeated, mind you? So I am picking Mario Pinto to win this fight by decision. I do not think he's going to finish Denise. I think he's going to be able to outstrike him on the feet, and I think he'll be able to take him down. So, yeah. Let's get on to the next one. And I think we all need to say a little prayer. Bow your heads. Dear God, please do not let Vicente Luque lose his life in the octagon. He is taking on Joel Alvarez. Now, this was originally supposed to be Vicente Luque versus Santiago Ponzinibbio, right? But I don't think it's unreasonable to say that Vicente Luque is completely fucked in this fight. And listen, man, he has a couple of wins as of recently. He beat Themba Gorimbo by Darce. He beat Rafael dos Anjos, who was a former lightweight. Don't get me wrong. But Joel Alvarez, he should have never been a lightweight in the first place. He should have been a welterweight the whole time. This dude is 6'3". He is a finishing specimen. I'm pretty sure he has the highest finishing ability. He only has one fight that's gone to a decision, I'm pretty sure. It's like Yuri, basically. All of his other fights have either been KOs or submissions. I think that, Luque has an ability to take this to the ground, and it would be interesting to see Alvarez on the ground. We saw the Arman fight, don't get me wrong, and nobody else has really been able to get Alvarez to the ground yet. Luque is a well-rounded fighter. He has submissions. He has striking, bro, but he just cannot take a hit the same way he used to. He got the fucking brain bleed. Jeff Neal rattled his brain beyond comprehension. Joaquin Buckley made him quit. Like, let's be honest, he quit against Buckley, and we thought it was the downfall of Luque completely. And it is. It is the downfall of Luque. We have to be honest with ourselves. It's going to hurt. Kevin Holland, he submitted Luque as well. And that is not, Kevin Holland is a big, he used to be a middleweight, so fair enough. Can't handle the fucking physicality, but I don't think he's going to be able to handle the physicality of someone who is as dangerous as Joel Alvarez, who has put away almost all of his opponents in brutal fashion. This guy who was about to make a crazy run at lightweight, and now he's moved up to welterweight. He's going to have lighter man skill. He's younger. For some reason, believe it or not, Luque is only 1 year older. He has taken more damage than anyone has ever taken. Dude, this is just it's not gonna be pretty, man. It is not. I'm not saying that Luque doesn't have a chance, but it's like a 1% chance, bro. It's like a 1.5% chance, all right? If he could get it to the ground, it could be somewhat interesting, but Alvarez has submissions as well. He doesn't have very good takedown defense. So that's what Luque is going to be trying to do. So I think that Alvarez will win via uppercut. I think that Luque is going to shoot in for a takedown. Alvarez is going to see it coming. He's going to throw an uppercut, and he's going to put Luque out and finish him off with a ground and pound. So I am picking Joel Alvarez to win this fight by knockout in the first round. The next fight on this card, and this is the co-main event, Davidson Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. And there are reasons to pick both fighters in this fight, right? Montel Jackson, he is on a crazy win streak. He's younger. He has higher finishing ability in this weight class. And, Figueiredo, he's coming off of that injury against Corey Sandhagen. He didn't look too good in that fight before either. But let me say this, man. This fight, to me, it feels like BSD versus Poirier, where Poirier's coming off of a pretty brutal loss. Figueiredo's coming off of a pretty brutal loss. They're taking up an up-and-comer who really didn't deserve a jump up like this. And let's be completely honest. Montel Jackson, his wins are not good. They aren't good. Daniel Marcos, he lost to David Grant. He had a very close fight with Adrian Yanez. Damon Blackshear, yeah, he knocked out Damon Blackshear, but we just saw Damon Blackshear lose to David Grant as well. So how well has that really aged? And then you go past that. His 3 fights ago, he was fighting Ronnie Yaya, who is probably the worst fighter the UFC's ever seen. He beat Julio Arce, and he beat JP Buys. And so this is basically like BSD when he beat Frivola. You see what I'm saying? Like, Daniel Marcos is Frivola of the division. Where it's like, yeah, he beat him clearly. What does that mean? It doesn't mean shit. I mean, it does mean shit, but someone like Figueiredo, who his only 2 losses in this division have been to Peter Yan, and that was a 50-45. Don't get me wrong, but his head was in the game the whole fight. He wobbled Yan at some points in that fight. I know he got 50-45, but it was still competitive rounds. It's not like he just got completely masterclassed. He didn't, they were competitive rounds with Peter Yan. And Corey Sandhagen. And we just saw what Corey Sandhagen, he beat Merab. No, he didn't beat Merab. He had 2 rounds off of Merab. I scored at 1 round, but he had a very admirable performance against the champion, you know? And yeah, he looked flat in that fight, but I'm not going to forget who Deiveson Figueiredo is, man. He dropped Pantoja. He beat Brandon Moreno. This guy is one of the greatest fighters of all time. And yeah, he looked very sus in his last fight. But Montel Jackson has not proven himself to me. And I understand, bro. It's like, so you're going to pick the veteran every time? No, man. Obviously, Montel Jackson has the physical attributes. Has shown, that's the thing. It's like, okay, he's old, he's younger, he's faster, whatever. He's taller, he's a big bantamweight, whatever. I think that what Figueiredo has done in the sport, I feel like even this washed version of Figgy can beat Montel Jackson. That's my take. And so I'm going to be picking Deiveson Figueiredo to win this fight by decision. Somehow he's a plus 220 underdog. And, this might be too fast of a turnaround for him coming off that Sandhagen injury, but I don't think that he would accept this fight if he knew he was not in the position to be able to fight at 100%. Unless he just wants to retire in Brazil, lay down the gloves, I don't think that that's what his game plan is, man. He's dangerous in this division. He beat Chito Vera. He dropped Chito Vera, who's never been dropped before. Cody Garbrandt. I know that's not that good of a win, but Rob Font. Come on, man. Rob Font's a decent win. And I'm trying to sell this. But, dude, real shit. You could say, okay, Figueiredo's resume at bantamweight is weak. It's still better than anything Montel Jackson. This guy fought Ronnie Yaya 3 fights ago. And he didn't even... Wait, he did finish Ronnie Yaya, but he didn't finish fucking JP Buys. It is a concerning fight for Montel Jackson. I don't really think he deserved this big of a jump up without beating someone that was somewhat impressive. This is kind of crazy of a jump up. I think it's too much, too fast for Montel Jackson. I think we're going to see a somewhat decent version of Deiveson Figueiredo in there. And I'm going to be picking Deiveson Figueiredo to win this fight by decision, all right? And now let's move on to what we've all been waiting for. The main event. Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot. All right, before we start, let's just talk about, before I tell you who I'm picking, when this fight was originally supposed to be Charles Oliveira versus Rafael Fiziev, I was leaning towards Rafael Fiziev because I don't like the fucking 3-month turnaround for Oliveira to fight after he just got his chin taken off against a dangerous striker, okay? And I did not like that for Oliveira. It seemed like he just wanted to retire in Brazil. And I was going to pick Fiziev. I'm going to be completely honest. But now that it's... here's my take on that fight. I think that Oliveira is better everywhere than Fiziev. But I just didn't trust his chin to not get hit or dropped in at least 2 of the rounds, you know? And so I was going to pick Fiziev. But now it's Mateusz Gamrot, who is taking this fight on short notice. And he does not have a finishing ability. Mateusz Gamrot, he couldn't finish a fucking Hooker. I don't even know what I was about to say. Oh, he couldn't finish Hooker, Dan Hooker. I mean, he couldn't, like, he doesn't have finishing ability is what I'm trying to fucking say here. Mateusz Gamrot, he does not have the ability to finish fights, okay? He has, like, fucking, oh, bro, what about 2018 when he knocked out, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Mateusz Gamrot that we have seen has not finished a high-level fighter. And yes, he is probably the best pure wrestler in this division, just straight wrestling, okay? And we have seen Charles Oliveira struggle against Arman Tsarukyan in the wrestling, and Islam Makhachev in the wrestling, and Ilia Topuria. But what is the difference between all three of those people and Mateusz Gamrot? One, they have decent striking, and so that opens up the fucking takedowns. You know, if you have good striking, you're going to be worried about two different things. And so all three of the people he lost to, they all had those things. The Arman fight, which is the main base in which people are going to be picking Gamrot in this fight. The Arman fight was close, man. It was scarily close to the point where, you know, Arman in the third round could have lost off of those submission attempts from Oliveira. And honestly, if this shorts didn't slide off, who knows what world we'd be living in right now, you know? So we got that to take into account. Sip of water. I'm Yap Toro here. And the people that Oliveira's lost to have been the highest level people. Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev are both pound for pound number one. Arman, he's next up for the fucking belt after he disposes of Dan Hooker. And I think that Arman should dispose of Dan Hooker with ease, which is another point that I'm trying to make, which is Gamrot doesn't dispose of these people with ease. Like, he beat Ludovic Klein, fair enough, but the Dan Hooker fight, split decision, arguably could have won, but he got dropped in the fight. He got dropped against RDA as well. He beat Fiziev by fucking injury or whatever. The Jalen Turner fight, he got dropped in that one. And I'm pretty sure the fight before that, he got dropped in it as well. And so I look at Gamrot, who's been chinny his entire career, who's been dropped by these people who are not better strikers than Oliveira. Oliveira has insane Muay Thai. He has insane finishing ability. Gamrot's not going to threaten anything on the feet. In his last couple of fights, talking mostly about the Chandler fight and the Dariush fight, he did a good job of getting up from bottom position. And this is what people like to say this about Oliveira, that he can't get up from bottom. Like, he likes to just lay on the ground. What about the Dariush fight where Beneil took him down and he got up? What about the Chandler fight where he just completely out-wrestled Chandler in that fight? Now, the Topuria fight, he did threaten submission off the bottom against Topuria. Now, he didn't get it or anything, but I'm saying, I think that hole in Oliveira's game is something we don't have to worry about. I think he's going to have a more active guard, and I think he's going to try to be able to get up from the fights a little bit more. And he will be taken down in this fight. There will be moments where Oliveira is on the ground in this fight, and not much is going on because Gamrot's a nut sniffer, right? But I do think that Oliveira, who, you know, fucking basically knocked out Gaethje, knocked out Chandler, I think his striking is way better than Mateusz Gamrot. I think Mateusz Gamrot also has a bad chin, just like Oliveira. And so, although that this is a fight that Oliveira is more likely to lose, I still think that he has a better chance to not get finished. And I think if you give Oliveira 5 rounds to find the finish against someone like Gamrot, who's going to be completely on the ground with him the whole time, I think he will find the finish, whether that be a submission or a knockout. I am picking Charles Oliveira. He had the full camp. I fuck with Oliveira. I'm not switching up on him. This has nothing to do. I would have picked Gamrot if I thought he was going to win. But Gamrot, I just think he's going to be like the new Poirier. You know, like the new Gaethje at the division, where it's like, maybe he'll get a title shot one day, but I don't think he's good. Like, he's not top level, bro. Like, the Hooker, like, let me say this. At the top of lightweight, we got Ilia Topuria and we got Islam Makhachev, okay? That's like S tier. And then it goes to the next tier. And that's like, you know, Oliveira, Gaethje, Arman, Poirier. I know we're talking about people that retired and people left, but just follow me here. And all those people have competitive fights with each other. But you go a tier higher and they get smoked. You go a tier below that and it's Gamrot, it's Hooker, it's Fiziev. There are levels to fucking lightweight, man. One ranking spot is like a fucking pool of experience. It's like a whole another world going up one ranking spot. And I think Gamrot, who took this on short notice, I don't think he's ready to get into this with Oliveira. This is going to be... I don't know if Oliveira will retire. If he loses, I definitely think he's going to retire. But if he wins... And these unks have been getting the belt back, man. We get the Oliveira title run part 2. No, I'm just kidding. But he's not beating Topuria in any world. But I do think that Oliveira should be able to get this one done. Yeah, man. He's good. He's always been a great fighter, and he's not gonna give up if it gets tough. He's gonna have his fucking heart out there. And I think Gamrot. I mean, Gamrot's a dog for taking this on short notice. Don't get me wrong, bro, but I just don't think it's a good decision for him. So here are my picks for the card. I'm picking Oliveira, Figueiredo, Alvarez, Pinto, Ofli. I'm picking as well Carpenter, Petrino, Mesquita, Rocha, Walker, Palastri, and Lacerda. But that will do it for the video. If you like the video, please please subscribe. If you watch the whole thing, just hit that fucking subscribe button. I make videos like this all the time. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.